It's August, and it's time to get back into the swing of things. Time to get ready for college football season. Could be a Nebraska exciting season this year. That's not the subject of this video. The subject of this video is this poll that we recently did at CornNation about what is Nebraska's biggest game this season. And there were choices. There were Cincinnati, Michigan, Iowa, Penn State, and USC as choices, and the top choice of all of them at 32% was Cincinnati. First game of the season. And I get it. I kind of get it from a standpoint of, yes, it's the first game of the season, and it's going to obviously be an important game, and God help us if Nebraska was to lose this game. That's unthinkable. Here's what I think. What I really think that this poll tells me. As a guy who's want to run the CornNation now for, well, almost 20 years, I think that honestly, Nebraska fans are going to watch the first game of the season. They're going to watch the Cincinnati game. And if we don't look good, a lot of them are just going to tune out. I saw this a couple of years ago. I think people are getting, they're not the diehard fans, but the people who are like casual college football fans or casual Nebraska fans. I think there's a lot more of them now than there probably ever was. But I saw this 2-3 years ago when we lost to Colorado, when we went out there and kind of got beat up and Jeff Sims turned into a turnover machine. Traffic, because I'm a content creator and I want to run a website, you can see what happens. You can look at your traffic and you can realize what's going on. And then I talked to other guys that do, website stuff, and they were in agreement. After we lost that Colorado game in, 2023, just everybody checked out. Not everybody, but you know what I mean? People just largely stopped caring. They stopped watching. They realized they had other things to do with their time. And I think this is going to be a very interesting season for not just Nebraska. Let's face it, it's Matt Rule's third year. We've heard all this stuff about the magic Matt Rule through third year. And, that's the year that he straightens everything out. So I think there's a lot of anticipation. It looks like we have a lot of depth all the way around. Looks like we have a pretty decent looking team, at least on paper. Everybody knows that doesn't count for a damn thing. Where was I going with this? But I think largely, people have an expectation for Matt Rule, but there's also this massive change that's occurred in college football. And I'm sure you're sick of hearing about it. The NIL, the House settlement is in place for the first time. Players are getting paid directly by the schools legally since, I think ever. I do college football history, and I think I can honestly say ever, except, until the NCAA, precursor to the NCAA came around in 1909, somewhere in there, 1906. They were getting paid a little bit by their schools, but we might as well say forever. But it's led to massive amounts of changes in college football. And I talked to Connor over the season, talked to Adam a little bit. And I think we looked at the fact that there was the content, people's interest in this off season was probably the lowest I've seen in 20 years, And I think a lot of the reason for that is because college football is going to go through this massive change. I think we're all going to be like NFL fans. You go to the airport during the fall on a Friday or Thursday, and the airports have NFL fans everywhere. They love their teams. They travel a lot. They still support their teams, but they do that during the season. And then when the Super Bowl ends, they just shut it off until the beginning of the next season. Whether in college football, there's been, usually year-round interest. It just isn't happening anymore. And I don't think that's just Nebraska. I think that's everybody. College football is going to be a lot more like the NFL than it ever has. And I think college football fans are going to act in the same way. Let's go through the rest of this poll. So Cincinnati was the top game. And I think, if we lose that game, people are just really, not all of them, but it's going to be a huge checkout for people. Somebody left a comment at CornNation saying, first game, work the kinks out. It's not really an indication of what the team may be about. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I realize that we have a new defensive coordinator and we have a new, kind of pretty much a new offensive coordinator because Dana Holgerson's going to get his chance to actually install his offense. And maybe there's a little kinks there, maybe a little bit. But you know what? It's your third year. You don't get those excuses anymore. There's none of this crap about working the kinks out or not knowing who your players are and that kind of shit. No, you don't get that. I will tell you that personally, for me, I think my attitude toward college football has changed because of all these changes. Um, they're not kids anymore. Nobody should act like this anymore. For years we've had this attitude that, oh, they don't deserve to have bad things say about them because they're just kids. They're just amateurs. They're just out there giving it the best, and they don't deserve to be booed and shit like that. Well, screw that. I'm old and cranky, and they're making more money than me. And for that reason, I'd probably be more critical than I ever have. So, if Dylan Raiola doesn't make his touchdown throws to wide open receivers, this year he's going to hear about it even more than he did before, and I'm sure he heard about it a lot before. But work the kinks out. No, you need to be ready to go in the first game. You got 2 warm-ups after that. 2 body bag games. I have no idea. Who's the third game? Houston Christian? I don't even know why the hell we're playing that game, other than we were afraid of Tennessee. Okay, second on the list was Michigan, which is obvious. I think the reasons for that being voted as the second biggest game of the season. It's an early, number 1, it's a conference game. Number 2, it's at home. Number 3, it's Michigan. And Michigan, a lot of people expect them to go to the college football playoff or something. I'm not sold on them. Third is Iowa. It's also understandable. You don't never want to lose to Iowa because they're a rival. I know there's a lot of people my age that feel like, oh, Oklahoma's our only rival, and that'll be come on, man. It's been decades now. We can get over that and move on. Iowa's our rival, our primary rival. That's it. And now the dog's going in. Penn State was 4th at 11%. USC is 5th at 8%. So Penn State's at 11%. Penn State's at 11%. That's late in the season. And Penn State was picked to finish, win the Big Ten, I think, by the media people. But you know what? That'll be a damn big game for me because I work with a Penn State guy who abuses me daily. He's let off lately because, it hasn't been college football season, but he's started sending me the same video of the damned 82 finish between Nebraska and Penn State. So he's getting warmed up for football season too. 5th is USC at 8%. I think that's a good choice. I get why they're down there, but I think USC, again, is another team that we'd like to see Nebraska start beating regularly. You look at the Big Ten, and it's a nasty conference. Like, for example, Wisconsin. They're just kind of flat out screwed because they have the worst schedule in the nation. And the Big Ten, I think, pretty much from top to bottom, is going to be a damn hard conference. So if you can somehow finish in the top 4 of that, that'd be an amazing year. If I had to make a prediction, I expect 10-2. Why? Well, we'll save that for another video. How about that? But for right now, Cincinnati's the biggest game of the season. Time to get back into the swing of the things. I'd like to know what you feel about the changes that have been made in college football over this massive offseason of change. And I don't know, maybe with some kind of, what are your outlook for the season? And it's time to get back into the swing of things. This is John Johnston with CornNation. We're going to go through massive website changes this week. I hope you like them. There'll be some new features, including the feed where people can post their own comments like we used to have fan posts, but those things got kind of outdated. One of the things I am looking forward to is an improved comment system because I think our comment system over the past few years has just been shit. It doesn't refresh, it doesn't do game threads really well. I'd like to see us build back up that community this season. And I'm going to try to spend more time on the website instead of on Twitter, because Twitter is just a hellhole. There you go. Getting ready for the season. John Johnston, CornNation. Let me know how you're doing. Hello. do like a roll call thing.